So you've learned the coding basics of whatever coding language you chose, and you prompted AI to come up with, hey, AI, give me the basics of whatever language, and you've gone through those lessons, right? And you definitely should go through those lessons. So if you haven't, just pause this video, go back, go through the lessons, because if you haven't, this section will be very, very tricky. So don't just monster power through the course. Actually go back, make sure you do all the lessons there. Now we're going to move on to actually applying whatever basics you learned to actually solving some coding competition problems. Now this is an amazing tool here, coding competition. So when you're learning something, there's really two steps. It's like, okay, learn the very basics, the syntax of the language, then do exercises associated with whatever concept you learnt, then move on to actually getting a problem that is sort of a little bit unknown, but not too crazy like a big project. We'll cover that in the next section, but sort of a nice middle ground where you can apply the basics you learnt and just feel good about solving sort of unknown problems. And that's exactly what coding competitions do. And it's the whole job interview process as well. So if you're a developer, what happens in job interviews is they give you not big projects. They will give you one big project if it's a very big company or something. But the intermediary steps is sort of solving these little medium-sized problems here, and that's what we're going to do in this video here. And I'm just going to show you what to look for, where to go. So let's go here, and I recommend you go to HackerRank, LeetCode, Codeforces, AltCoder as well. You can make a free account if you're a developer and just go on and sign up and pick a problem. So here I have this tab open of my HackerRank account, and what it does, it's so nice. It just sort of sorts all the problems you've solved, and maybe you want to learn some Python. So you go to the Python section. We can go back here, right? And it also has a list of different skills. Maybe you want to learn data structures, mathematics, artificial intelligence, Linux shell stuff, databases, SQL, C++, which is, oh my gosh, that's so hardcore. Regular expressions, React. It has a lot. There's a lot. It's just free coding practice exercises you can do. So here, let's go to the Python section because that's what we're doing here. And these are some of the problems I've solved here. So what I suggest you do is you sort of filter things out. So just click the easy tab here. It'll filter things out by easy because you have just learned the coding language. So we don't want to go to the medium questions or the hard questions because it'll be kind of a nightmare to solve if you haven't gone through the easy ones. So pick the easy ones, click into it, and just read the prompt and go solve your first easy question. So for example, this one, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to solve it right here, but I'm just going to sort of tell you how I would go about solving such things and what to do if you're stuck. So usually the platform would give you sort of the starting code here. Sometimes depending on the language, it might not give you the starting code, but there's a few things going on here, and so it sort of starts you off. And what you've got to do is, you start with name and score right here, as you can see in the prompt, and then you will sort of do some modifications, and this is sort of the output you want. So whatever the prompt says, just do that, and and go ahead and solve it. And so what ends up happening is you'll have to print something out like this here, and and then sort of you run code or submit code, and then it'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Essentially, if you're wrong, you just make sure your output matches the sample output here. Now you go along trying to solve this problem, but imagine something comes up and you actually don't know how to do something. Now the trick about doing this is that you obviously want to use AI to sort of prompt you and help you to solve the question, but you don't want to. This is the worst thing you could do for your learning. You literally copy the whole question, copy that, right? And then you end up putting that into the AI right? You end up putting that whole thing into the AI. That is the worst thing you can do for your learning, because what the AI will do is, because these aren't particularly hard problems, it'll just spit out whatever code you need to have to solve that problem. But instead, for example, so here in this code, I can just tell you what it's doing is it's reading in a bunch of things from the standard input. Here, it's reading in a bunch of input and they're integers, right? Now, say in Python, you didn't know how to read in standard input from the terminal. So what I would do is I just go to AI and be like, yo, how to read in standard. I didn't even write the word standard. I just wrote std input from Python, because even if you make spelling mistakes, it's that tutor that never criticizes you because you don't ask it stupid questions, which I love. So here, this is exactly what we want. It says use input. Just use the input function, which is correctly right, and which is right. So now that you know that, you can just sort of apply that to the problem. So what I've done, so this is a subproblem. I've broken the problem up into subproblems, and then if there's a particular subproblem I don't know how to do, for example, reading things from the terminal, that's the only thing I ask AI to do. So you sort of try it, you don't get it, ask AI. Now, suppose you get to the end of this, right? And then you sort of go through it, and then you've actually got something. Then that's the time you can sort of tell AI, hey, I'm going to copy paste this, and verbatim copy paste the question, and then it'll spit out the answer. Now, even if you do get everything correct in the end, I still recommend you end up going to AI and just copy paste the question in there, because what the honest truth is that with these particular questions, AI can solve the question in a more efficient way than really any coder at this point in time. So it's always good to learn what the most efficient solution is, and then you will sort of keep that in your brain, and when you go onto problems AI cannot solve, at least you'll have the knowledge of being able to solve medium-sized questions with the most efficient solution, right? And then what big problems are essentially are just stacks of easy to medium-sized questions concatenated together. That's what it is. That's how you should think about solving these problems. And now that you have the most efficient solution in your head, you will hopefully have the most efficient solution to whatever difficult problem the AI is not able to solve yet. Okay, so homework, guys, homework. There's always homework. I'm sorry, but we've got to give you some homework. So I want you to go to whatever language you're learning on whatever coding competition site you have chosen, and then pick 6 to 10 easy questions and just get them done. And they should be fairly quick, because you have this wonderful thing called AI to help you. And remember how I told you how to use it. Then pick a couple of medium questions, right? Those are the tricky ones, and even maybe pick a hard one if you're feeling up to it. If you're not feeling up to it, it's okay. Hard ones are deadly hard, and sometimes they're just a time waste because you have to learn special mathematical formulas they teach in like the upper echelons of math and stuff like that, which is not quite practical to everyone. So that is what I want you to do. And then the last thing is I always want you to share your progress. So pick a question you have sort of taken a liking to, and then post that in the show progress, and then post your solutions, and then also post the AI solutions and tell us how close you got to getting the optimal solution.